this is a little unusual.
You know, that is a really weird choice. Because, well, I mean, we've been seeing a lot of Stitches bans last week, but the
Yeah.
right wing ban is the one that I'm kind of relax on Arthas. And Faye, who is a recent addition into the. Oh, sorry, Liquid Chef and Faye, who are two recent additions into the Snowflake team.
Yes, they were, in fact. And on the Team WildFire side, we have War Greymon on that Tychus, Iacona on Uther, following it up with Poom in the middle on Tyrael, and then Bims and Pickles on Falstad and Zeratul respectively in that bottom lane, and they're going to be heading out with that 2-1-2 split. Looks like they want to play it defensively and move into this early lane phase without checking any forest stuff, just waiting for their creeps.
Now, the only thing I have to say is that Falstad is such a great hero on maps when you have tons of objectives because you can just jump back and forth using that fly. The only thing that really is bothering me is that he unfortunately has Falstad on a map like this, which, I mean, he's still a really good hero, but he doesn't get that extra added advantage of being able to be anywhere. Like in Dragonshire, he can jump from Shrine straight to, like, the Dragon, or
Yeah.
in Curse, he can be in lane as long as possible and then jump straight to the Tribute.
Yeah, this is a big map, so the fly is useful, but it's not that there's necessarily map objectives on various sides, so you're absolutely right. He can't just go snag a quick shrine or tribute or whatnot. It looks like we have a two-man gang squad on this top half side of the map, looking to put some pressure on the top lane immediately for Team Snowflake. They just want to get these early kills with this Arthas Kerrigan. That's really how you get that composition to pay off, is Arthas Kerrigan goes in early, does some damage to the enemy team's experience farming and morale by getting those early kills.
Oh, and a very nice disengage there from War Greymon. He does throw down the grenade, and that backs everybody up. Iacona does get snared, but unfortunately, Iacona's got way too many heals, being that it's Uther Lightbringer, who's got the strongest heal in the game next to Ancestral Healing. You cannot take down Uther. Uther always walks away was the joke in the very beginning of the early alpha.
That it was. And it looks like LZ Gamer and Kelex learned their lesson. They're like, alright guys, we don't want to gank that lane, we're just going to go grab some mercs real quick, because obviously this top lane gank thing is not working out. Very good job by Team WildFire there to just deny the picks, because you know that's what the Kerrigan Arth is going to go for. And meanwhile, their bottom lane actually playing aggressive, trying to zone Faye out of experience range is what they're going for here. That's why they're kind of posturing aggressively in the brush, hoping that Faye gets out of experience range, ends up costing her team a little bit of the experience advantage that they're looking to pick up.
Now, I want to point out positioning right now in this lane. They have the two people who, Pickles and Bims, are standing out, and they're hanging out at the bottom side of this map because they don't know where Arthas and Kerrigan just were, right? They had no idea, so they're being very, very careful, and the creeps would see them way before, and that'd give them a little bit extra time to escape. Now there goes LZ Gamer coming in, getting a really nice Envenom and pull and snare on Bims, but unfortunately he's not going to be able to do that much. Speaking of which, we are at level 4 on both of them. We have 2 Envenoms on Team Snowflake, which is going to be on Arthas and Kerrigan, making that gank squad incredibly scary.
Yeah, that's very typical. The Arthas Kerrigan gank squad gets incredibly powerful in those 2v2 brawls as soon as you pick up double Envenom. Looks like Pickle's gonna check into this brush. I wonder if he realized Kerrigan is there, because if your pathing actually gets blocked and it doesn't let you in that brush, you know something went wrong, but sometimes you don't make it in the brush and actually see the hero. So if he's smart, he's let his team know that, hey, Kerrigan's in this brush, like definitely waiting, don't come out here. And it looks like Bims is playing defensively enough to make that work.
Yeah, they're both playing incredibly defensively, and that's exactly how you pretty much just counter this type of style of plays. You just have to just soak. You can't push, you can't do anything. You just soak. The only problem with that is that if you don't know where they are, they could either be jungling, they could be setting up a gank, so you always have to be very, very careful. Now, Pickle's using his cloak to be able to walk around and make sure that there's not going to be any type of gank set up anytime soon. Bims now being a little bit more forward with his positioning.
Yeah, so they knew that Arthas Kerrigan pulled back potentially as soon as Pickles scouted that brush, and you noticed as soon as the Arthas Kerrigan pulled out of the bottom lane, their top lane started playing more defensively. So good by them, but they did give up a little bit of advantage on the map and let them have the knights for free, so that's kind of a concern. You don't want to be just giving away the mercs for free, especially if you have someone like that Zeratul who can go check whether the mercs are up or not at any given time without too much risk with that blink and cloak.
A little bit of an engagement at top yet again, but nothing really going to be happening here. It's kind of just being a little bit of a standstill. This is kind of very typical of the map Garden of Terror. There was a couple of changes, but this is pretty much where we kind of sit for the most part. Really, any team is kind of looking for a big advantage so that they can kind of start taking more and more merc camps. But the merc camps are very, very out in the open in this level. Very easy to check.
Yeah. Yeah, Kelex looks like just split off to the bottom lane, and then they had their Kerrigan on LZ Gamer lane. Oh, first blood. Boom. Looks like Zeratul overextended there in the bottom lane into the Arthas route. And ended up just getting picked off by the Vala Arthas damage. He was not expecting that. Their wall went down, you have no safety left there anymore, and to just walk into range of the Arthas route is questionable. So that's a nice pick by Keylax, hitting that route on the target with the blink. Looks like there's another skirmish on top side, though.
Yeah, there is a little bit of a skirmish, but Uther heals are just far too good. Wargreymon is absolutely A-okay. The Primal Grasp coming in here. Is it going to be actually a kill? There is a ton of damage going down on him. There is the Envenom, and yes, Tychus is going to get slain.
Yeah, we are at 5:45 right now.
Oh, you are
a few seconds behind.
There we go.
This normal speed, not so normalized yet, Alpha. But yeah, that Primal Grasp into stun was actually huge. They're getting them a kill they possibly shouldn't have gotten. And because of the positioning of this wave on top side, Icon is actually entirely zoned and can't grab XP for his team. This is going to cost them a lot. You can see that Team Snowflake is already level 10. And Team WildFire is falling behind a little bit. They're level 9. We should look to see Team Snowflake take a big advantage here with that 10 to 9 threshold reached so they can use that power spike effectively. They want to secure an objective. I wouldn't be upset to see them go for something like the enemy team Knights, just anything they can force while the enemy team is still level 9, because that's really the goal of getting that level 10 first, is you want to force an actual objective. A fort, more mercenary camps on enemy sides of the map, even just kills, whatever it is, you shouldn't let that 10 to 9 advantage go to waste.
Now, would you say that they're at a little bit of a disadvantage to use that level 10 on this map because there's not really many objectives that you can really force? I mean, really on their side, all they have are 2 Siege Giants. Do you think they should be making possibly a move to their Knights?
Yeah, given how much time we've seen them at 10 to 9, it looks like they just ticked up 11 to 10. But given how much time they had there, I think they definitely could have moved more aggressively. Although it is a downside of this map that the mechanics are not that important in the early game, so it's not like you can just run and grab a Dragon Knight or quickly pick up, you know, some coins and get a turn in when you have that 10 to 9, because you just can't force the issue until the late game. So we're seeing like a really safe standard lane setup, a lot of splitting, nobody really going for crazy plays yet, and we see WildFire just gets to pull back in a little bit, take some advantage back. They're now 10 to 11, getting mercenaries. So we're seeing the game equalize because Snowflake didn't capitalize on that temporary advantage, partly due to the map.
Yeah, and I mean that's going to be one of the biggest problems with a map like this, where there's no real clear objective, and you know, it's one of the things that may or may not be an issue for a game like Heroes of the Storm, where those map objectives are so incredibly important that if there isn't a really strong objective, then there's not really much to do. But here comes a beautiful engagement there, a Divine Storm, as well as a Judgment to just immediately eliminate Liquid Chef. That was really nice, actually. He got erased.
WildFire actually kind of stealthily rotated all 5 people up to this lane. Really smooth move. They had the Falstad come in, nobody saw him on Snowflake, and it looks like they're going to force the issue on this board. Yeah,
LZ Gamer does use Maelstrom, is going to go down. Poom taking a lot of damage, is finally go down, but Tyrael, of course, has his passive trait to explode yet again. Faye taking a lot of damage, does have to back up. Wargreymon still in his Odin. Is he going to be able to hold off this onslaught from Keylax as well as Idra? He is taken out of Odin. Keylax taking so much heavy damage. Bim is able to finish off Keylax. Idra now on the retreat as Archon has gone down, and he's got that massive DPS decrease when he's not in Archon.
Absolutely. That was a huge engage for both teams there, actually. Ends up turning out 3 for 3, and WildFire does not get the fort. So that's not their happiest moment. They get a pick off and then don't manage to take the fight convincingly. Is actually not great for them. The Kerrigan combo into Archon Storms with damage was just like so much damage. It melted the squishies on WildFire's team. They're going to have to be careful with that in the future. Because that damage was
looks like
insane.
WildFire setting up for something else. They've got 5 people now heading down to bot lane. Are they going to be going for Chef? Pickles does make the scout there. LZ Gamer also trying to go for Knights. Is there going to be an engagement here? Here comes the Q in from Poom. LZ Gamer taking a lot of damage. There's a Primal Grasp, but unfortunately it's not going to lead into a spike. And it looks like they're just going to get in, take those Knights, and immediately evacuate.
Yeah, that was a really nice ninja on those Knights. They rotated in, Pickles had the scouting info, capped the Knights with no losses in heroes, which is actually pretty difficult to do against a team with as much hard engage as this Snowflake composition is running. Really well played by them to not get comboed by that Kerrigan through that wall.
Meanwhile, Snowflake looks like they want to respond by 5-man pushing bot. Also going to have to deal with the siege, pair of Siege Giants, though.
Yeah, this is actually a really, really fantastic rotation by Snowflake. They saw WildFire going up top to deal with the ogres, and they're like, alright, we can kill the enemy ogres and force down a fort that hasn't taken damage in exchange for our own ogres and a fort that we had at half health and no wall. So really, really good play by them. They essentially got ahead in objectives because they took the objective that had more health and traded it for a weaker one of their own. So actually a really good call by them to abuse the fact that they knew WildFire was going to go across the map. And here we see them basically doing parity on the map mechanic here. They each are going to kill the large plant and then end up picking up all the rest of the seeds on that half of the map. And we see a perfect 90-90 seed split. You don't see that very often through the first night. Really, really cute.
Yeah, right? 90 and 90. Both paired very evenly here.
They both get A minuses, but nobody got the 100% to get the plant.
It's okay, there's going to be a curve. That's how college works, right?
Oh, you're right.
Fluctuating range on this. This joke is wasted.
Yeah, that joke is so wasted, Gem, too. Nice try. Good ogres by WildFire here. They had them timed, went there immediately. It looks like Snowflake's going to interrupt this, though.
Yeah, here comes
really good posturing.
Kind of forcing himself right on into the middle of this, and actually it looks like Snowflake might be able to nab these siege giants. Ooh, there is a lot of contention right now. Both teams are posturing. They don't know if they really want to engage at this point.
Yeah, I think Snowflake wanted the giants, but as soon as their health reset, they were like, oh, maybe not. And now we see WildFire clumped up pretty hard here. Is Snowflake going to go in?
It looks like they are not. There is going to be a root going to Groots. There's going to be a root going down. But unfortunately, that's not going to nab anybody except for the siege giants, since they're just going to back up. They don't really have a huge advantage, and that's one of the biggest things about team fights. Unless you have a really big advantage, you don't really want to force it.
In the mid lane here,
a large engagement.
Idra.
Void Prism going down on Chef, going to eliminate him from the fight. There's a beautiful shotgun as well as an Odin, and Chef uses a beautiful ice block just to block that judgment. Very, very nice disengage there. Unfortunately, Snowflake taking heavy, heavy hits. LZ Gamer is going to be the last one up, and Boom's going to finish him off. It's going to be a 5-kill out here.
Yeah, that was a beautiful 5 for 0. They did exactly what their composition wants to do. Again, they got a pick off with the Tyrael combo, blew up the Tassadar before he could even Archon, and then from there, it was just Snowflake's mistake to even try to fight piecemeal as they came in. Huge work being done there by the Tyrael Void Prison combination in that team fight. We're now at 12 minutes and 10 seconds into the replay, so I think we're a couple seconds ahead again over here.
Oh, man.
But it looks
Sorry,
like, regardless of... We're at 12:15 right now. So, looking at the results of that push, they got a 5 for 0, definitely knocked Snowflake back on their heels. They took the experience lead, have a bunch of ogres pressuring mid, and they're going to cap this night camp for free. So WildFire is actually taking a commanding spot in this game after these rotations in that team fight. They've now got the mercenary advantage, the experience advantage, even though the levels have evened out, and they have a slight fort advantage. They're up 1 fort. The enemy team has no mid fort while they do. So we're going to be seeing them rotate down to the bottom lane here with this 5-man clump. Looks like they want to take this fort here in the bottom lane. And Snowflake probably going to do the same thing, but to the top lane there are knights up here, so they're going to want to get rid of those, and they're basically going to trade forts here, because it's unlikely that WildFire can kill this fort and get back in time to deal with Snowflake.
Right.
Although if they keep pushing, that could be interesting, because Snowflake might not have time to get this fort before WildFire threatens the tier 2 keep.
And you know, if Snowflake is able to get this keep down and keep those siege giants alive, that's going to be a pushing element for them as they move back and rotate back down bottom, if WildFire is going to continue that push.
Yeah,
so
it looks like
WildFire is just going to be able to finish up that fort. They're going to leave those siege giants, and they are going to rotate back down bot. WildFire is definitely going to be aware of this, but this is going to be a very, very tight engagement if there is going to be a fight here, because already WildFire's got a couple of hits down on him.
Yeah, WildFire actually backs out there just in time. They saw the Hearthstones going down on Snowflake, so they're like, alright, we don't want to make a mistake here. We feel good about what we got in that push, the trade fort for fort, and then a little bit of a front wall of a keep is a good place to be. They're going to have to deal with those ogres topside, though. You see there's a creep wave with them, there's a creep wave behind them. That's going to do some serious damage if they don't get up there. So after capping these ogres, that's probably where they're going to head to, even though Snowflake got those knights for free.
Yeah, there's not many other camps that are going to be coming up anytime soon. We have 30 seconds left on that siege giants at top, and that's going to be probably the next point of contention, given that there's not really that much else on the map for either of these teams to really fight over. All of them are kind of left back down onto their keeps, except for that middle fort.
To want to pressure that sometime soon. Experience gets really tense at this point in the game where you're trying to hit that 20. Both teams in the 17 to 20 range, you just want to get that edge at 20. And it looks like WildFire doesn't like the fact that Snowflake's doing this Golem. Huge root by the Golem.
Oh, and a beautiful shotgun. Oh, there is the Void Prison on Keylax and LZ Gamer, and here comes Pickles, going to be going straight in on Faye. Faye does get a beautiful strafe off. is going to be able to take out Zeratul with a heavy hit. LZ Gamer does get focused down. Keylax now has to deal with 4 members of Team WildFire and try and get away. Now Arthas is an incredibly tanky hero, but not tanky enough.
Yeah, I mean, Arthas is a big boy, but he definitely needed some friends there. Again, this WildFire composition absolutely doing exactly what they want to do with the Tyrael initiation with the Judgment, using Void Prison to allow them to pick off the target. And they're going to take this keep here. There's just nothing that Faye can do to contest this as long as they commit. Tyrael died. It's not ideal, but I think they're still going to get the keep here. They shouldn't back up. They've got 10 seconds left on Malfurion's res timer. They should be able to force this down. War Greymon taking the keep. That's not good. You don't want your DPS taking that attack speed slow.
But here comes Faye, gonna use a strafe. Iacona gonna barely get away. Oh my god, if it wasn't for that
man.
W.
Uther walks away, man.
Uther always walks away.
Meanwhile, actually, Snowflake kind of got the better edge of that, because on the bottom lane, that keep, the whole front wall got busted down.
Yeah. Very nice push from those Knights, and that's one of those things that a lot of these professional teams will keep in mind, is that they will get all these jungle camps and then do a giant fight somewhere else, so those jungle camps can just push a lane and get all of the damage done. They are going to be taking those siege giants, as I was mentioning before, that they did just come up, and there's another 40 seconds on those Knights right above them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't expect them to stick around for the Knights, probably, given that they're taking this plant. The enemy team knows where they are. WildFire's going to be coming here. They know they're at that plant, and they want to deny them. Oh, WildFire actually capping the plant here. This is kind of unusual to see it this early in the game. The plant scales really hard with time and starts out kind of weak, so usually you don't want to pop it until around that 20-minute mark. I'm pretty sure that WildFire popped it here in order to just prevent Snowflake from the possibility of getting any additional mercenaries, because it actually does despawn the camps that haven't been fought yet. And it looks like they're going to try and force down that mid keep. They're like, alright, we have a slight XP lead still, and this keep at half health. This should be a pretty easy take for them if they can secure good positioning on the Plant Terror's overgrowth, because that's going to do a lot of damage to the forts, and Poom should be able to get down this keep. Ooh. Counter Terror.
Counter Terror.
Yeah.
Counter Terror, Terror Lux. And here comes the giant re-push from Snowflake. Now, an interesting thing that I've been noticing is that if you spawn your Terror after they spawn their Terror, and you get a couple of hits on their Terror, you're in a very significant advantage, because of obviously their Terror is already at half health, yours is at full health. This is going to be a very difficult spot for WildFire to decide what they want to do. Poom taking a lot of damage, down to a third left of his health on that Garden Terror, and Snowflake at absolute great position. Absolutely everybody's full health.
Yeah. This is actually a really clutch counter plant by Snowflake here. Oh, huge Void Prison to start the fight off. 2 locked in there. Let's see if they can pick off Arthas.
Oh, there it looks like they're going to go for Keylax. Keylax is in the middle of WildFire. War Greymon does get him with the overkill. Now it looks like they're going to return this and turn it onto an engagement on Faye. There is the judgment from Poom. The shock and awe does go down. LZ Gamer taking a couple of hits, but he's in that giant Garden Terror, so he's not going to be too scared. Faye does finally go down. War Greymon using an Odin at the very last second. Poom going to be able to get out with just a fraction of health left, but War Greymon is going to be caught in the middle of the enemy team. Pickles does blink out, and it looks like Snowflake was able to completely reciprocate that fight.
Yeah, interestingly enough, Snowflake actually got 2 for 1 there in that fight, but it feels like they have the advantage because they're pushing forward. It'd be interesting to see if WildFire ends up re-engaging after some Uther heals come out and they realize that they have the 4v3 advantage, and especially when that plant goes down, Snowflake's in a precarious position, because even if you're advantaged, the 3v4 can be pretty difficult to win. Although it looks like WildFire just pulls back, takes their Knights. Falstad gonna fly down to that bottom lane and bribe these ogres real quick to get the mercenary advantage, try and get that split of pressure going with those mercs, because the Knights are gonna meet the enemy team's ogres. They know they're probably at the ogres. WildFire's like, alright, they just pulled back. We know on their side of the map the top side ogres are up, and that's where we were, so probably gonna meet them with our Knights. So they know that's happening, so they're like, alright, we need to get pressure somewhere else. Pop the bottom ogres, and now with the bottom lane pushing and the top lanes being even in mercenary pressure, they can look to actually force an engagement, a pickoff, or even just push a lane while Snowflake tries to get the rest of their mercenaries to even out the pressure.
Oh, a disconnect from Pickles, and that is at the absolute worst time. That's going to allow Snowflake to get these giants for absolutely free, possibly even ogres as well. Zeratul bot, what are you doing? Gonna go charge in. Zeratul bot, please. Base bot god. Retreat.
Oh,
They're
man.
trying to signal
Pickles.
it.
Yes, Pickles made it
Oh,
back.
Pickles is back. Okay,
Good
good.
guy, Pickles. Here we
Good,
are,
good, good.
19 minutes, 50 seconds in the game. We see WildFire has a level 20 to level 19 advantage. I'd like to see them make something of this. We saw earlier in the game, Snowflake had 10 to 9, and they didn't exactly do anything with it. Let's see if WildFire can not make the same mistake and actually end up closing out a bigger lead using this 20 to 19 gap.
It doesn't look like they're able to really do that much. They're just kind of pushing out this bot lane, making sure those knights are down. Here's the Siege Giants now pushing down into the middle lane of that completely bare fort. Yet again, the only fort that's left on this map, everything past that is just keeps.
Yeah. Only one standing.
Last man standing.
Yep. Let's see. Let's see if he makes it to the end of the game. I'd be surprised. It's pretty easy to take down these first tier forts this late in the game. Their health just does not stand up that well to level 20 enemies, which Snowflake has just achieved. So Snowflake did the right thing here. They managed to kind of turtle it out, spread their efforts across the lanes to get all the experience possible, and allow themselves to reach that level 20 before WildFire could actually make a big breakaway with the game using that advantage.
So who do you think has the stronger post-20 engagement right now? Do you think it's Snowflake, or do you think it's going to be WildFire?
Well, up until this point, we've seen WildFire take some pretty convincing teamfight wins, but at this point, Tassadar gets Dark Archon, and that is an absurdly powerful effect. And if we see Tassadar survive the initiation by WildFire, you're very likely to see Dark Archon just go tear through this WildFire team, because they don't really have the tools to deal with it long term. They don't have Brightwing for multiple polymorphs. They don't have the kind of like CC knock away big effects that you want to see to get rid of a Dark Archon once you hit this 20. So Idra's going to be in a position to deal a ton of damage in these team fights, provided he doesn't get picked off by the Tyrael Judgment.
Is it possible that they're going to be using that Tyrael Judgment on that, or do you think it's going to be more of a Void Prison, possibly?
It all just depends on the positioning here. The Void Prison is so finicky. You got to get it in just the right place to do what you want. So when you're playing Zeratul, you just have to be on the lookout for a good opportunity, regardless of who the targets are necessarily. Any targets can be good. Oh my gosh, huge Oracle by Tassadar there, actually scouting out the entire WildFire crew and making them waste the entire time they spent setting up that gank brush. That was just, I mean, that's such a bad feeling for WildFire.
It's an interesting decision to do a party bush against the Tassadar, who has an Oracle on every couple of seconds on a cooldown.
Yeah, especially with no mercenary anything coming up on that side of the map in the immediate future. I mean, maybe you get lucky and catch someone there, but nobody has really a reason to be out there alone, if that makes sense. So why?
Yeah, there's no objectives really to fight over there. Now let's take a quick look at these level 20 talents, as we're kind of in a little bit of a stalemate right now, as both teams are just kind of running around grabbing camps. We have Uther with the Divine Hurricane, Tyrael with Resurgence of the Storm, which means that he's going to be able to go down and then immediately get back into that fight, well, at least spawn back at the Nexus again. Yeah. Big Red Button on Tychus, Blast of Awe from Falsad, which is the upgrade, Shock and Awe, and Bolt of the Storm on Zeratul, which is a very strange, very solid pick out of all of these. The only thing that's really kind of catching me as, there's one way or the other is we're seeing a Malfurion with Storm Shield instead of actually getting the upgraded Tranquility. Now, can you expand about a little bit on that?
Well, that actually makes sense given that these compositions, oh boy, we see a huge dive in on that keep. Right as we were trying to talk about some heroics, it looks like WildFire heard us and they're like, all right guys, we got to spice this game up a bit. Dive into the keep with no creeps in the area and just smack it down, which is something they could have done probably a little while ago. Zeratul's really good at that. But back to the whole Storm Shield thing, the idea there is actually pretty clever, because Team Snowflake knows that they're losing these engages in the initial burst. Like, some single target is getting bursted down and blown up, and that's been their problem. So that Storm Shield is going to provide more effective health at the instant you pop it to try and deny that hard engage, rather than the Tranquility, which would let them win the sustain fight that they're already winning if they ever get to fight any of those. So it actually makes a lot of sense here to grab the Storm Shield to provide that burst mitigation that you're going to need to deal with this Tyrael Judgment.
Alright, so yeah, we're just still kind of running around. It looks like the team WildFire is going to go try and get another plant. Terra to kind of push down another fort, hopefully another keep. They do have that middle keep down, which is now is going to allow them to kind of just auto push that middle lane. They don't really have to worry about it. That it does put a little bit of a timer on Snowflake. That's going to make Snowflake have to pretty much go within a sync of when their lane is actually pushing, which is for a very short amount of time.
Yeah. Snowflake has pretty much to deal with that wave. Every minute, minute and a half perhaps, the wave's going to get to the core, and if you don't deal with it, it'll be a problem eventually. So actually really good here by WildFire to get those Knights on the top, Mercs in the middle, and then spawn the plant and take it to the bottom lane. That's going to allow them to have pressure on all 3 lanes simultaneously, as long as the plant stays in this bottom lane. So you're likely to see some big things happen in the immediate future here. Interesting that they're actually splitting 4-1. 4 people top for WildFire, with 1 person in the plant terror in the bottom lane. Their composition doesn't work very well when they're split like this, so they have to be really careful about a team fight here.
Yeah, it looks like they're trying to go for a party bush yet again. Idra does walk by, does not use Oracle. It is up, however, but he's not really going out into an adventurous position, so he doesn't really need to pop it. Knights are going to go down pretty quickly. Secondary Garden Terror coming out here from LZ Gamer, which is going to be, they keep using Kerrigan on that, and we might be able to get into that a little bit later, but Poom now finally coming in here. On that bottom lane, we have a creep push coming in as well, and WildFire is completely posturing up to see if they're going to go for a team fight.
Yeah, Poom taking a lot of free damage here, though. That Plant Terror has gotten wrecked. It looks like he is not even trying to auto-attack LZ Gamer, which has cost them a lot of health in this Plant Terror showdown. Kind of just posturing here. Both teams behind the plants.
Now Poom in the middle of Team Snowflake, just kind of, I'm a plant. I'm just gonna...
Yeah. You know.
Don't mind me, I'm just a plant, whatever. Gonna plant myself right here.
Alright, well, they've decided that
they're just,
Yeah, they don't want to be here anymore. They're not about that life. They're just gonna head back towards their base. Get back inside their Tier 1 fort. Find safety. Poom's plant times out. And it looks like LZ Gamer's looking to pressure. This fort might actually go down here with the strength of that plant. The plant is hitting hard this late in the game, so I wouldn't be surprised to see WildFire give up this fort.
He is going to go straight in. Those auto attacks at this point do about 500 to 600 damage a hit. So you are completely correct, sir, in saying that. A nice root does go down, but unfortunately it's on Poom, who's an incredibly tanky hero.
Yeah,
and let's just make sure we're synced up yet again. I'm just about to hit 2645 now.
I'm at 2650 right now, so we're a little bit behind. Not too bad. They're just posturing at this point. I mean, both teams are really afraid to commit here. This late in the game, one misstep can cost you the whole game. So both teams playing it really careful. They want to get all the mercs they can, get any advantage wherever they can. And really, if Snowflake makes a mistake while WildFire's up their base, they'll lose the game. If WildFire makes a mistake while at Snowflake's base, it's possible they'll have time to come back. So you're going to see WildFire get a little bit aggressive here with that tier 2 keep down in the mid lane and hopefully force something here, because this standoff, I mean, both teams just kind of taking it to the ultra late game. We're going to start to see that Plant Terror absolutely dominate. If it gets late enough, you will see the Plant Terror just start crunching people out, especially squishies. So that's what we got to be on the lookout for.
A beautiful Frozen Tempest hit on Pickles. Unfortunately, there was not a huge follow-up. There is an Entangling Roots on Poom. Poom taking a lot of damage, but he does get out of there. Keelax and the rest of the team are going to be able to get out of there. A beautiful Divine Hurricane going to hit all of Team Snowflake, but here comes the Dark Messiah doing so much damage. LZ Gamer is still alive, does use the bolt to get out of absolutely all the damage. Wargreymon finally going to be flinged into the air and taken out. At the same time, Snowflake going to turn this into a 2-for-3.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was talking about, though. That fight looked bad for Snowflake at the start, but the WildFire team just did not deal with that Dark Archon, and it ended up crushing them out. For that whole duration of the fight, after Void Prison, Dark Archon got to auto attack for free. There was one Divine Hurricane on that hit the Archon, and after that, he had free reign. He just blew up Uther, Tychus, and Tyrael, and that's the kind of teamfight power that we're talking about when we talk about the Dark Archon here. So Snowflake going to feel a lot better about their teamfight composition now, this late in the game, now that they've seen how good Dark Archon is going to be. So we can expect to see them wait out the Dark Archon cooldown and then force a fight at the enemy's base where they know they can win and hopefully end the game off of a victorious teamfight there, is what I expect to see.
Yeah, they're just grabbing... it's going to be really, really close, because at this point, it's getting to the point where everybody, like, whenever anybody dies, it's going to be about 60 seconds for them to come back up. And even though they are 2 forts down at this point, if Snowflake gets a couple of really good engagements, or even just get a really strong advantage, and they get a Plant Terror out really quickly, with that advantage, they could actually take that fort and maybe even the keep behind it in mid lane, or just one of the keeps down top or bot.
I mean, it's possible Snowflake gets a 5-for-0 on WildFire's side of the map and just ends the game with Dark Archon. I mean, the damage is that high this late in the game. those forts and buildings do not stand up worth anything. Especially, I'd really like to see Snowflake pick up the last few seeds they need for their last plant terror here. This late in the game, it's super effective, and if they could pick up those seeds and spawn a plant terror to put some pressure back on WildFire, that would be really, really good, because they're at 97, and it looks like WildFire is actually going to pick up enough seeds from that plant terror in the top to get their own. So instead of Snowflake having an advantage here going up against WildFire with those seeds, they're going to be pretty much even.
Now, do you think it's still a bit of a disadvantage to spawn your Garden Terror first, or is it, do you think it's now in Snowflake's favor to actually spawn the Garden Terror first and really push something down?
I mean, this late in the game, the Garden Terror hits so hard that if you can spawn it and have enough time to get anywhere near your opponent's base and start threatening it before they can spawn their terror, then it's definitely worth it to do it first. Now, there's still a defender's advantage, but if you can take down easily the fort in the mid lane and then maybe like half the life on a keep, that's worth spawning it first, even with the slight disadvantage that gives you after your plant times out.
Knights are going to be pushing down top. Snowflake going to respond. WildFire, meanwhile, going to take down the Knights at the bot lane. Siege Giants did just spawn at the top lane on Snowflake's side. Again, there's really not that much because those Siege Giants are just so incredibly forecasted that as soon as you see them walking across, it's like, okay, well, you know, we have the next 5 minutes to take them out.
Yeah, the threat there is really that Snowflake forces a fight somewhere else on the map and WildFire just forgets about them and loses to them, which is a possibility. This late in the game, the mercenaries have scaled up incredibly strong. They're going to clear out those creep waves really easily, so any mercenaries that are left unattended can cost you a keep at this point in the game. But it looks like WildFire is already in position to deal with these. They saw them come up, they saw the timer, they saw them get captured, so they're already in position to clear them out. And Snowflake kind of looks like they're not accomplishing anything here. Neither is WildFire, though. You'd think with that keep down for WildFire in the mid lane, they'd be able to actually put some pressure onto Snowflake, who's at the disadvantage.
Yeah, this is going to be one of those really just kind of... I mean, Snowflake doesn't want to get out of their base too far because they already have that keep down. You know, the longer and farther out from their base that they are, and they don't really have that much map control either, the more dangerous absolutely everything is. So they really don't have any giant reason to get out of their base. Now, both teams do have 100 seed. They can spawn a plant terror. Unfortunately, in going for that plant terror, they're going to have to... It's pretty much going to be a telltale sign that the enemy team should also get their plant terror up and kind of just evens out again.
We might have a fight here with these ogres. Snowflake knows they're coming up, wants to do something about the fact that WildFire is doing them. WildFire ends up leashing them, and it looks like they might not want to fight it out. WildFire should really be looking for a fight here. They can't let Snowflake just take these for free.
In a little bit of a precarious situation. Keylak's now going to be a little bit bullied out here by Boom. Bim's just trying to get a couple of free hits in. Pickle's actually taking a little bit of damage. Chef does almost get an Entangling Roots, but a beautiful, beautiful blink is going to take him out. LZ Gamer does get Void Prison. It's also going to be a huge wall, but is WildFire going to be able to move in here? Doesn't look like it. Shotgun completely missing everybody here on Team Snowflake, and Chef's going to pop Tranquility a little bit early. I think they were really scared of that engagement, but unfortunately it looks like WildFire did just have to back up there, and now they just have to play the, not to protect the Sergeant Hammer, but protect the Siege Giants. Grenade is going to go and push them right into the Keep's range, so not a massive advantage here for Snowflake, given that team fight was actually starting to go really well for them.
Yeah, seems like there might have been a little miscommunication there on the Void Prison timing. There definitely was not the follow-up. Oh, huge grenade on LZ Gamer, though, and the Divine Storm takes him out, and
get out of here?
Chef.
No, he does get immediately eliminated. Chef is also eliminated as well. Snowflake in a terrible position. Boom taking a lot of damage, though. He does go down. There is the nuke. Does hit Faye and Keelax. War Greymon, as the rest of Team WildFire are going to do some terrible, terrible damage. Faye gets a beautiful grenade hit on her, and she is going to get thrown right back into Team WildFire. Now it's a 4-for-1 here for Team WildFire.
Yeah, Team WildFire really proving they didn't even need the Void Prison to win those fights. The Tyrael pick was strong enough to initiate that while they had the man advantage in that location. And I mean, that's just a misstep by Snowflake to let someone get caught like that while the Void Prison is down, and it ends up costing them a lot here. They have to pop the Terror, and WildFire also popped their Terror, but these death timers are enormous this late in the game, so even though Keelax is hitting really hard, you're going to see them possibly take down this Terror and win the game as soon as their Terror shows up. We've got 10 seconds on Kerrigan and Malfurion, though, so it's possible Snowflake actually holds there.
Well, nobody has heroics, and actually WildFire is pretty hurt at this point. Uther's starting to run out of mana. They don't really want to stay here for too long, because as soon as those people pop from Snowflake, they're going to be full health. full mana, full everything, and they're going to be ready to go. Pickles is coming in here, does throw down the growth on absolutely everything here at the bottom lane. It's staying alive for now. Kelax looks like he does want to engage. There is a healing ward down here as well. It's going to keep Snowflake alive for a lot longer. Pickles taking heavy hits, but so is Kelax.
Yeah, just another... We've seen this before, I feel like. Plant terrors, bottom side, both teams have them, posturing aggressively. I mean, this time, Team WildFire actually does manage to take the keep down, so good for them, but Pickles is going to be timing out or dying in that plant terror a lot earlier than Kelax. So it's going to be a touchy situation here as Pickles' plant terror about to go down.
Yeah, it looks like he needs to make like a tree and leave, but unfortunately he's going to go right back in, take a couple of hits. Is he going to go down? Yes, he does, but he does have Blink as well as his wormhole, or sorry, his Blink to get out of those, so he's very good at disengaging.
Yeah. So, not much happening there for either team with the plant terrors. WildFire does take a keep, and this late in the game that's important, but the experience doesn't really matter. So it's only if they can make those catapults and the pressure those give actually matter will that keep be important. And it looks like WildFire actually snipes out some ogres with a bribe and then wants to take these knights. So this is interesting. Snowflake in a position here where if they just give up these knights, they're going to be in a tough spot because of all the map pressure that they won't be able to get.
Oh, there is some really thick tension in the air.
Yeah.
Almost palpable. Both teams trying to get into a perfect position. War Greymon a little bit forward, but does not get picked up by anything. Liquid Chef looking like he wants to get that entangling root, and it does look like Snowflake's going to be able to get this Night Camp.
Yeah, they do end up killing that last knight. Poor guy. Just wanted to be valiant and defend his camp. But WildFire bought a lot of time for their mid ogres and catapult to push. They're going to get about 20%, 25% damage onto that core, which is not irrelevant at this phase of the game. The lower that core gets, the easier it is to just run in and kill it, especially if they can get a Void Prison to lock Team Snowflake out of defending their core. That's what I'm looking to see them do. This late in the game, that is a huge possibility, especially if they manage to do it with a Plant Terror. So Snowflake has to be really careful here. They want to take a fight far outside of their base and try and win so as fast as possible so they can actually end the game. Because even if they win a fight on their side of the map, if they don't end the game, there's a real possibility that WildFire just runs into their core and kills it, like at a later point. So
catapults are no joke on this map, on any map really. Catapults are incredibly strong, and I think a lot of people kind of neglect to think about how strong and how fast like 4 catapults can take out a core.
yeah, I mean, we see a catapult here pushing the bottom lane. WildFire getting another advantage here. They've got a wave coming in. 2 catapults going to be mounting up on this core, and Snowflake has to go back and deal with them. They just got Ogre's bottom. WildFire's going to take 2 camps in the top in exchange, though, and get more damage on the core as soon as it breaks through that shield. So Snowflake kind of falling apart here, not able to use that Dark Archon to put any serious pressure on the enemy base like they'd want to do, which is going to leave them in a rough spot going forward. They definitely are in a precarious position, both teams here. As soon as a big team fight breaks out, the game is going to end, and it's going to be awesome.
It's going to be an absolute firefight, and I'm waiting for it. WildFire still just, kind of going around, getting in the jungles.
Oh man, these guys, they really like these mercenaries in France.
We could write a whole story about this. We can call it the Jungle Book.
Oh wow. I don't see any snakes here though, and bears, so you're kind of missing out. We have a falcon. That's kind of close, I guess.
Kind of close.
I don't know. At least
a Zerg Queen was in Jungle Book, right?
I think so. I'm pretty sure that's how it was.
Last time I saw it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's been a while. But we do see both teams have now spread out, taking out a plant terror on each side of the map. They both have enough seeds to get another plant. So I really just hope, what I want to see, and I don't know if this is actually win the game or if it's right, but I really want to see WildFire just grab a plant and try to Zerg to core, because this late in the game, that's a real possibility.
It is.
And like, if they can Void Prison out a couple people, they might just win the game off of that. Although it looks like they're going to take the safe route and stick as 5, maybe look for another pick. They've had good play in team fights, been coordinating well some of those engages with Material Judgment Void Prison to isolate targets. So if we can see that happen again, they definitely have an avenue to win this game.
As long as they don't Void Prison the Palace, because that actually can happen and does negate damage.
Yeah, if you Void Prison the enemy core on accident and your team gets mad at you because you couldn't kill it, That's a rough place to be. I've had a game or two of that.
I mean, I do it when I'm normally messing with my team, but I think there's actually been chances where I did that just to mess around, and then we almost actually lost.
Yeah. That'd be a good way to go, though. It'd be a good story to tell your kids. I was playing in the first ECS league, and I void prisoned the enemy's core, and we lost the game. That'd be a good story, right? To tell around a fireplace.
Yeah, I think so. Why a fireplace? Why not like fire pit or outside?
A digital fireplace?
A campfire?
A TV screen that has a fire on it, maybe? I mean, they're definitely not going to tell it in a jungle, because I can tell you both these teams are tired of the jungle after this game.
Well, only you can prevent jungle fires.
Only you can prevent.
However,
fires.
there is a wildfire in the jungle. They're moving around. They've got a pocket bush set up.
Oh, they really like making. I haven't
really
seen
like it,
any
it's
team.
So weird because they don't have. There's nothing over here that Snowflake is going to be like, oh yeah, we definitely need to go over there. Except for maybe those giants. But are they going to wait there for 30 seconds?
Like they're just gonna. Oh man, I don't know. They really like these party bushes, especially against Tassadar. It's interesting to me. No other team has made as much effort to set up party bushes in any of their games that I've seen. So. Kind of interesting that this WildFire team really likes that strategy. Maybe they feel like with their composition that's the best way to engage a fight, and that's the only way they can win. But I don't even think that's true, so they're definitely just maybe a little too scared here. Both teams.
Oh, looks like an
really
incredibly large engagement is just about to go down. There is a Void Prison on LZ as well as Chef. There's a judgment on Idra. Idra does use his escape to get out. Beautiful shotgun autos go down. Keelax is getting focused down, but is he going to get down? No, Arthas takes so much to actually get taken down, and the Dark Messiah cleans up absolutely everything. Is Snowflake going to be able to end this game?
I think Snowflake just ends it here, man.
No
like,
way.
4 people dead for 50 seconds on WildFire's side. This game, they're level 26. Oh, plant. Boom in the plant. He can probably fight this team straight up. Look at him chunk LZ Gamer and Keelax. One hit is taking off like a third of each person's health. This is great. Do it, Poom. Oh my god. The keep goes down.
Boom. And he's just coming in and absolutely wrecking. And they have to disengage. They can't deal with this.
Yeah, they actually can't beat this plant terror here. But this is actually not a good sign because WildFire uses this plant terror, and if they don't manage to use that plant terror to like win the game, doesn't Snowflake just grab their own plant terror and force down the core here? Because this late in the game, those plant terrors hit hard, man. I would not be surprised to see Snowflake grab their own plant terror because they have enough seeds and just end the game with it.
Oh man, this is intense. This, like, you know, we had a little bit of a lull, not gonna lie. We had a little bit of a lull in action here, but now this is intense. Now everything's on the line. Poom fighting Garden Terror.
Oh man.
Neutral Garden Terror up here.
Mono and mono, Garden Terror versus Garden Terror. That is interesting.
Poom gets the first hit, Neutral Garden Creep gets the other hit. There's another hit, a second hit. More hits.
This is not as exciting as I would hope, honestly. Can we request maybe some flips or some spinny things in these attack animations? Get some variations in here.
Maybe like a Vine Whip or something.
Yeah, man, totally. Like Razor Leaf. Razor Leaf. That'd be what I want to see.
Solar Beam.
Oh my god, please.
Boom's charging.
But no Giga Drain.
Oh. Doesn't really care about the whole entire team coming in around him. LZ Gamer does have the Garden Terror for Team Snowflake. Poom, yet again, at the disadvantage of having just a little bit of his health chunked already, and actually has to disengage, but they do have another 100 seeds up.
Yeah, that's actually really clutch of them to get enough seeds for another Garden Terror. This means that Snowflake's Garden Terror is somewhat countered by the possibility of a WildFire retaliation Garden Terror. So they're going to hope to just hold on to their objectives and wait out the short cooldown that's between your own team's allowed Garden Terrors. And that's the hope that WildFire has to cling to, because if Snowflake manages to do work with this Garden Terror before it times out, they're going to be in a really rough spot.
You know, I think I'm a Poke Master, but since it's Team WildFire versus Giant Plant Terror, they should be super effective. It's whether or not they can actually pull off this fight. LZ Gamer is just completely dominating that keep. There's just nothing left. The overgrowth is taking out the turret as well.
Yeah.
But Poom comes in with a second Garden Terror. And it's just Garden Terror on Garden Terror on Garden Terror.
Yeah, Snowflake might actually be in a bad spot here because their Garden Terror is going to time out relatively soon, and WildFire has a full duration, full health Garden Terror. They're probably just going to... It looks like they're just taking it to the mid lane. I think that's what Poom is trying to do here. He's just going to walk towards the core. WildFire's going to follow up, and we're going to see the end of the game.
And
oh my god.
Oh, but here comes LZ. Actually does get polymorphed. Is it going to turn into anything? And I don't know, a decent Entangly Roost is going to delay Poom from being able to do too much more behind this. But here comes the push straight down on the core. Is this going to be the game? Poom trying to get in there, but actually Snowflake doing a really nice job of body blocking Poom from being able to get in there. Here's the Void Prism, Intra, and
down.
LC Gamer grabbing
Or at half.
trying to do as much as he can, but unfortunately Poom is just taking so much damage on the core, and there it goes down. Team WildFire shows that fire is what beats a garden.
Oh, wow. That game was